The rebels, they have reached center of Aleppo. Russia has started Ariel offensive, and Israel quite conveniently attacks Hezbollah targets. We'll talk all of this in light of the genocide taking place right now in Gaza. If you are new to this channel, consider subscribing because you do not want to miss out on any of these details. What I want to do is to give you some idea as to what is happening at the moment. Take a look at this video first.
Russian army units are fighting Syrian rebel groups that have entered Syria's western Aleppo city, Russian telegram channels reported on Friday. According to the reports, Bashar al-Assad's army has already fled from the city and Russian troops are the only forces left to counter opposition insurgents in Syria's second-largest city. However, Russian troops' operation is reportedly not successful. According to some reports, Syrian rebels have entered the strategically important town of Sarakib in Aleppo province after Syrian troops fled from the city, leaving Aleppo-Damascus highway to militants.
Okay, so the first thing I want to address is the rapid advance at a lightning speed, how they have captured those territories on the Highway 5 and Highway 6 from Idlib to Aleppo. The forces from the Assad regime, his army, they fled. They fled the moment they saw these rebels coming. Why that happened? According to military analysts, two reasons. Number one, Assad forces stationed in that particular area, they're very, very weak. They are ill prepared, if prepared at all. And the other reason is these rebel groups, Hayat Tahrir Asham, HTS, they are preparing for this offensive for the last 4.5 months. When you combine this, you see why this happened. One hand, you have a force that is prepared, that was ready, and they now also have drone technology that they did not have when the Syrian civil war started. They have those drones, they have those preparation, they have the experience, they have manpower now. Thanks to Gaza war, a lot of these Arab youths, they are joining them, and they feel compelled to join any kind of war, thinking that somehow this will be a war against Israel to liberate Gaza, to liberate Palestine. But nevertheless, that's beside the point. The point here is this. These forces, they have everything they needed. And Assad, his forces, they were just becoming couch potatoes. They were just eating food, having fun, good time, because of too much reliance on Russian forces. Since Russia came to Syria, they believe, the Syrian army, that somehow they cannot be defeated at all. And so they served Assad, his regime, only to find out now that because Russia is gone fighting Ukraine, they are coming under attack. And this is becoming unbearable for them. Now, I want you to also take a listen at this part of the video because I think it is very, very important.
Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, who is bogged down in a war against Ukraine, is also having problems in Syria. Local militias have launched a major offensive west of the major city of Aleppo in Idlib province. The defense of the Russian Assad troops has collapsed near Aleppo. The militia is conducting a successful offensive and is already 7 kilometers from the city. This was reported by the Russian SYED channel. Alex Parker returns close to the Russian armed forces.
Okay, so Russian forces, they're not being defeated. Something that she mentioned also, Putin, I don't believe he's a dictator in Russia. He's just the president of Russia. Nevertheless, these forces, they collapsed because of Russia not giving them support, because Russia's absence. It is not that Russia failed or was defeated. It is because these forces from Assad regime, they withdrew so fast and they ran away so fast that Russia right now, they have to prepare themselves for a counter strike. And this is why we see these rebel groups are now coming under Russian airstrikes. Because of this, what we will see is that in the coming days, these rebel groups HTC, even though they're prepared, even though they have manpower, everything that I mentioned, they are going to back off because of the Russian forces coming back to capture or recapture those areas with the help of the Assad regime. Now, this is where things get interesting. Right now, Hezbollah, they have pulled their forces from Aleppo, from the Idlib province and the Idlib region in Syria. Russian forces, they have pulled their experienced military personnel and weapons because of Ukraine war. IRGC, as we know, they need their personnel on the ground in Lebanon, because IRGC of Iranian military, they are in Lebanon to help out Hezbollah. You can see there is absolutely nothing left in this particular area between Idlib and Aleppo. And therefore, what you get rebels coming back. And this is the strategy. This is what happens all the time. These rebels, they were waiting for 8 years, prepared for the last at least 4.5 months. I think they were preparing even for a longer time, only to come back and get those territories back. Now, the reason they're also winning here is because these rebels, HTS, is because of popular support. As I mentioned in my other video, in the last video, 74% of Syrian population are Sunni Muslims. When these rebels, Hayat Tahrir Asham came, HTS, they promised their own people, the Sunni people, that you do not have to live under this oppressive regime. That's how they quote Bashar al-Assad's regime, oppressive. We are here, we are Sunni, you are Sunni, so we will help you out. We will free you guys. So these residents, including women, and also in some cases, the elderly people and everybody in that area, who are those residents living in that area, they're helping these forces, rebel forces, and they're in some cases welcoming them. Welcome to us. We are ready for you. We will do anything for you. Therefore, because of this popularity they have among these people, and at the same time, how they are also becoming so popular is because these people, the Sunni people, they are being incarcerated in Syrian prisons for a very long time, and a lot of them without any trial, without even any charges. So this HTC coming to these people, telling them, we will free those captives, we will bring you freedom, we will make sure that we get rid of Assad for good. Because remember, when the civil war started back in the year 2012, it was very, very popular, and Assad faced inevitable defeat. The only reason Assad is still in power is because of Putin, because of Russia's involvement in that country. I want you to take a look at this person's, he's an analyst, an expert. Take a listen what this person is saying. He will break it down for you a little bit more.
A war monitor says Islamist fighters have entered and taken over a number of districts in Syria's second biggest city, Aleppo. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reports heavy fighting between rebels and government forces. Syria's military says it's inflicted heavy losses on the Islamists who've been advancing on Aleppo for days now. They've also taken control of strategic towns along the way. The observatory said Syrian and Russian warplanes have bombed the rebel enclave of Idlib. The escalation and fighting comes after weeks of simmering violence. Let's take a look at the groups involved in the offensive and why it's happening now.
Major fighting.
Okay, so I'm just going to be going to this this person's commentary. Actually, I should play this part of the video here too to see what this guy is talking about.
Unify them is their opposition to Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad.
I've been displaced for 5 years, but thank God I'm now fighting to reclaim our land from the grip of the criminal regime. We will persevere on this path and call on young people to join us in the struggle to take back our country.
As you have heard, they are going to be recruiting more and more young people, and what I understand is that young generation from other part of the Arab countries, when they will join in this war or this fight, if they do, they will choose this HTS group over Hezbollah. And this obviously leads us to the question, what will happen to the resistance forces? So the resistance force that is now working day and night to free and stop the genocide in Gaza, they are now falling apart in that part of the area, in Syria now, and also it will have an effect in Lebanon, maybe to a smaller extent. But this resistance force for now is gone in that area again. Hamas is still there. Hamas is still fighting in Gaza. But because of this infight, Hezbollah will have to mobilize its military now to counter HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Therefore, it will be very easy for Israel to get away with all of its crimes. What we have to do here is to hope that these rebels will be contained and will be given or have some kind of treaty between them and Assad regime or Russian forces, and come to these terms that, hey guys, if we fight between us, Gaza is bleeding, nothing will come out of it good. Therefore, let's reach to an agreement. You rule that part of the province or area of Syria, we rule this part of Syria, and let's get along. But I personally believe that will not happen because of these Shia and Sunni frictions that is going on for many, many years. Let's take a listen at this expert, what he's saying.
Senior analyst for Syria at the International Crisis Group. Good to see you, Nanar. Now, the government seems to have been taken by surprise by this rebel offensive. Did you see it coming?
Yes, it was a bit anticipated, this offensive. Even government forces, as well as Russia, were conducting preemptive attacks the last several months to try to prevent this offensive. What took us by surprise is the success and how quickly rebel groups managed to gain control of land, villages, and reach Aleppo city.
What do you think is behind that? Why were they so successful in their...
Okay, so just want to make one point here. So this guy, he said that Russia was preempting these rebel groups for quite some time. The reason for that is Russia knew, and this is why I like Putin. I mean, this guy is very smart. He knew that his military, when they're engaged with Ukraine, they have to leave behind Aleppo. They have to leave behind Syria. So Putin, he decided, you know what, he saw what was coming. He foresaw what was coming, and he decided to preempt these rebel groups. Nonetheless, because his military is being stretched too thin right now, and with the aerial power and the fighter jets, everything involved in this war with Ukraine, he definitely is not in a position at the moment to make any progress, even though he preempted them, but his worst nightmare came true, if you want to call it that way. So what is happening right now? Why they have entered Aleppo? Let's take a listen a little bit more.
Advance.
I would say there's a couple of reasons. The first, the government forces were extremely weak in defending the outskirts of Aleppo. They quickly routed. They did not hold much of a defense. Keep in mind, around 50 villages were taken over a bit more than a day. The rebel groups were preparing, training, and planning for months for this attack. So I would say it just comes down to rebel groups were very well prepared for this attack, while government forces were not.
You say there was a way to see this coming. Why do you think they launched their attack now? How related is the timing to other conflicts in the area and around the world?
Yeah, very good question. I would say there's two main reasons. The first one is internally. So the HDS's legitimacy and popularity was...
Okay, so I'm not going to be letting him explain because I think I can do it. The reason is, there are two reasons, he said. So basically, number one is HDS, they were losing their legitimacy because Idlib was coming under tremendous attack from the Assad regime forces and also from the other parties involved in this war. They were attacking Idlib, and they said, we had an agreement with these people, with the Assad regime, other Assad forces. How come now we are coming under attack? Where is our man, the HDS, i.e. HDS? So HDS was like, yeah, we need to defend our people. So they came out and tried to take over lands, and they are successful. They have taken over 50 villages. The other one is obviously because they now see there is a vacuum. There is no Hezbollah, there is no IRGC, there is no Russian forces the way they were in the past, and therefore they decided to go on a war. But there is another thing that people are missing big time, which is Turkish support. Turkey vowed to support these groups, and when they were going and advancing and capturing one land after another, do you know what Turkey said? They said, oh, these people, we thought they will just go there and come back and nothing will happen. It was just, to secure some land in the vicinity of Idlib where they are located, where they're living. But then Turkey said, we were surprised they are now in Aleppo. That was not expected. So in other words, even though this is a lame excuse, Turkey has full support of this group, but they came out and said, no, there was no support from Turkey. But we know without Turkish support, now they're receiving, as I said, drones. They have drones technology, HTS. They're using it against these forces, making it much, much worse for them to fight. This is the final point. As I said, manpower recruitment. There was an article published, I believe it was in the Washington Institute of Near East Policy. Okay, this is what they call it. Take a look at this. So they have made a claim and wrote an article on their website talking about how Al-Qaeda, they are going to be getting more support because of Gaza war, and the reason for that is because people are sympathizing with Gaza genocide. In other words, Israel, this is what I want you to understand. Israel, by committing genocide in Gaza, gave birth to more enemies than eliminating anyone. And this is what Elon Musk said. Elon Musk, he said, when you kill people in Gaza and you kill terrorists, how many terrorists you are giving birth to? And a question he asked, I believe it was in Joe Rogan show podcast. This is exactly what is happening right now. They killed a lot of people, almost close to 50,000 people in Gaza, and now 50,000 people are ready to take up arms. So this whole genocide is backfiring on Israel, and perhaps we are seeing the first sign of it through this rebel attack on Aleppo. Perhaps, I don't know. But remember, anytime you commit oppression, anytime you kill innocent people, there will be consequences. I'm not saying Al-Qaeda is right or HDS right or Iran is right or Hezbollah is right. I don't care. I don't support any of these groups, as I said from the beginning of this channel. But what I'm saying is that when you oppress people, as Elon Musk said, you will give rise to more people who will be fighting against you. And I leave with that. If you have any doubt, differences in opinion, let me know, share with me, and I will be glad to respond to you. Thank you, guys.